Hello everyone, thank you for joining us once again on the latest installment of our in-depth teaser video. As always, I am Nico Lurot, one of the hosts here on GUE's YouTube channel. If you are new to the channel, please be sure to like the video and share the video with anyone who you think may be interested, and do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I am joined as always by the rock star to my left, Mr. Michael Menduno, who legitimately this last few weeks was a rock star. Tell me about it.
Running around crazy at RF4. Oh my God. We did it, Nico. We pulled it off. I'm amazed. What a weekend from hundreds of try dives before the meeting and diving, of course, to the meeting itself. And then Dr. Harry's hydrogen talk to kick it, to end it with the banquet. It was just really incredible. What a meeting, huh?
What a meeting, and what a one. I mean, first off, shout out to everyone who took time out of there, because we're all busy in the diving industry, but shout out to everyone who took time and spent money and resources to come over and join us at Rebreather Forum 4. It was quite an event, and you're going to tell us more about it, but I think a lot of really nice things came out of it. And special mention, as you said, to Harry, because man, what a man. What a guy, and so humble, freaking humble. It's crazy. Like, you know when you meet someone and you're like, yeah, you've done some living. You've lived. Like, you've done some stuff, you know? You've left your mark on history. And it's just fascinating to see that at his core, he's still just this, like, in the most loving way, kind of nerdy, kind of down to earth, tech guy who still loves diving. Right.
It's
amazing.
Full by his passion. Yeah, for sure.
Literally one of us.
So let me start with some numbers. We had 294 attendees, and then plus some walk-ins, and this was from the tech diving, scientific diving, and military diving community. I had quite a few special forces people, etc. 29 exhibitors, 17 sponsors, 9 press people were there writing about it. And it was from more than 28 countries. So we had a broad group of the diving leadership in Rebreather world, basically. And we got a lot of some interesting data out of this due to a number of people's efforts. Frauke Tillmans and Dan will be talking to her about her more, but she did a great thing working with the manufacturers to try to estimate the installed base of tech rebreathers out there. And the best estimate now, based on data from most of the manufacturers, is we have about 25 to 35,000 units out there. Just the installed base of sport rebreathers. And we know from our surveys that on average, people own 1.8 rebreathers. So a couple of rebreathers. So, maybe there's 12 to 15,000 rebreather divers out there. So globally. Speaking. So that's pretty interesting. And the agencies also got together. We had 8 training agencies get together to look at all their training data for the last 10 years. So over the last 10 years, we've averaged 3,500 to 5,200 certifications per year, rebreather certification. Kind of ballparks a number. And what really is interesting that came out of it is, whereas North America used to be the center, global center of sport rebreather diving, is no longer.
No.
That title has shifted over to Europe. So Europe is now the new center for rebreather diving. So it's pretty amazing that way, yeah.
It is. I'd also like to take this moment, because I think we should never miss a chance to say this, and let's just be real with the audience and with GUE people out there. As Michael mentioned, 8 agencies in the room. Yes. When you have the leaders, the diving leaders of the world, the people who are running these firms, which we are essentially in a pyramid scheme of all Reaganomics style trickling down into, they all get along. Everyone gets along. There's none of this kind of tribal bullshit that happens. People know who they're with, and people are proud of who they're with, but that you can tell between all the leaders, there's none of this I'm better than you and I smell of roses and you don't. And I really, that element, and I honestly, hear me on this, I would really love it if everyone could try and adopt that a bit more. We all need to just remember we are divers. First and foremost, this tribalism isn't necessary.
Right, that's right. And we need to work together to get, think of it, look at it this way, there's several million active divers in the world, millions.
Crazy.
There's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
Most people a vast 99% of people do not go underwater. And so we want to entice them in, and we can do that by working together. So we need to do more of that. I agree.
At all levels.
I think the presumption going into this meeting was, hey, things have gotten a lot safer. Let's document that. Well, the fact is, again, Frauke Tillman and Dan did an extraordinary job looking at all available data. And she's concluded that, well, basically that 241 people have died over the last 10 years on Rebreather. Minimally 241, because that does not include reporting in China and other areas. So if you contrast that, there's about 10 times that many scuba deaths. So look at it this way. A tenth of the deaths are rebreathers, but what percent of the scuba sets out there are rebreathers? Maybe one couple percent. So our accident rate is still very high. So that was one of the first consensus statements coming out of the meeting. These will be released in the future, that we need to, more work is needed on safety. And it's not equipment related problems. Equipment problems do not cause fatalities. Human factors cause, and inadequate systems cause fatalities. So
right, and Frauke was really clear about that, wasn't she? She was very much saying that the data is not there yet. We need to keep collecting.
So some other high points out of the meeting, I think, were the physiological monitoring. We're almost there in a number of areas to really be able to monitor divers completely underwater, so we can see what's happening with them, and that'll generate data that we can then hopefully use for predictive models to improve safety and things. So that was a big theme. And then, of course, the end of the event, we had Dr. Harry talking about he titled his talk N=1. We did it once, but it doesn't mean it can be done safely again. I mean, it was quite an exploration, and something that'll probably be remembered 100 years from now. The first reported hydrogen rebreather dive. So
and that's what was interesting about it, is that, you know, that's what, when I was referencing him being humble earlier, is the fact that despite the fact that he pulled this off, you know, I know a lot of people who would have done something like that and been very braggadocious about it. He was so reserved and very, very calculated in his delivery, saying like, hey, look, we did it, but I am not advocating anyone rushes out and does this yet. However, what we did find, using myself as a litmus test, was that when I go down to 180 and I get the jitters, the moment I was on hydrogen, rock hard. That was fascinating, that it had that sort of effect, a long-term effect at depth.
A huge finding, because of course the problem in our community is, because of compression rates are so fast, high pressure nervous syndrome, HPNS, is a major factor on any uber deep dive beyond 150 meters, 200 meters. And people are experiencing this. And the hydrogen, as Harry reported, completely eliminated that for him, which is significant. Whereas Craig Challen, who he's diving with, was still shaking at those depths. So
and
that's
he's usually more resilient, which was interesting.
Right. Yeah. So
which further goes to show that all of these calculations are still basically purely theoretical. The one impossible to calculate constant is that everyone's different.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of things came out of this. You're reminding me too of David Dulet's talk on BGE. These are bubbles, detecting bubbles post-dive, and that they aren't a good predictor of decompression stress in an individual. So that was pretty astounding. And they also talked about some of our other, things in the future. Heart rate variability, again, is a potential measure of decompression stress, but so far, we haven't been able to find the right correlations. So a lot of it is a work in progress still. Very interesting. Yeah,
it's super interesting. On the topic of Dr. Harry, Jared actually sat down to do a pretty full-on interview with him, and that interview will be airing on GUE TV on the 17th of May. So please do go and check that out, because it honestly, just to be in that room and producing that interview was special. It was really like a meeting of great minds talking about something quite unique. It was check out GUE TV 17th of May, and all of these affluent diving people that Michael's talking about, your Frauke Tillmans, your Neil Pollocks, your Andy Pitkins, Simon Mitchells, David Dulett, both myself and Michael had a chance to sit down and interview them one-on-one, and all of those interviews will be going up on GUE TV as well. So do stay tuned to GUE TV for that reason.
We have a great piece by Steve Lambert. He had an exploration piece connecting what's called the Crypt, an area of Peacock Springs in the West Isles to Lower Orange Grove. This is a connection that had been rumored and thought about. The Crypt is an area of Peacock that it's a collapsed tunnel that Sheck Exley explored at one point. Again, they found a lead leading over to Orange Grove. So it's a really quite intriguing exploration story that Steve talks about. So we have that. And then finally, to top it off, have a great story by Florine Quirian on CE markings and rebreathers. Just what new, we have, as you know, been an explosion of rebreathers. We now have 24 manufacturers, several brand new startups who are at RF4. Yep. And so this is this is kind of the struggle that people need to go through, and the expense of getting CE marking. It's 20 to 30,000 euros, 20 to 40,000 euros per model. So if you think about it, to get your CE mark on, say, a Fathom Gemini or a Dive Right Optima, US manufacturers, you're going to spend 20 to 40,000 euros. So how many units do you have to sell just to pay for that CE marking, which allows you to sell into Europe, which is now the world's biggest sport rebreather market. So it's an interesting piece about some of the challenges that particularly the smaller manufacturers go through. And that's our issue this week.
Let our audience know, where can people find it and when's it out, mate?
We'll go live this coming Thursday. You'll get, if you're an InDepth subscriber, of course, you'll get it in your inbox. If you're not a subscriber, it's a free subscription. So click in and subscribe, and you can make sure you won't miss any of our stories. So, yeah, that's it.
Very good. Out this Thursday. Keep your ears to the ground and eyes on the horizon for the new GUE TV content. Please do like this video, as I said, and do hit that subscribe button. There should be another video down there somewhere for your next piece of GUE content. And yeah, keep it right here on the channel, guys. We will see you very soon. Thank you for joining us.
Ciao for now.